Hello, welcome. Today we will talk about CodeWorks diversity in employment discrimination in business. So code words and discriminatory practices have been part of business, unfortunately, in many settings. It hurts workers, it hurts retention, and it hurts employees' bottom line. So we will talk about several issues related to code words, diversity and employment discrimination. Again, from a U.S. perspective and U.S. laws, since I'm most familiar with the laws in our country here. So let us look at this in several parts. Let us look a little bit more closely about code words that are being used in the workplace to discriminate against others. Is there such a thing as appearance discrimination, lookism, or lookphobia in the workplace? Unfortunately, the answer to this question is yes. Overall, keep in mind that when children are born into this world, they come with an open mind, ready to learn, to absorb all the information that's given to them through their family members, through society, to their friends, to their colleagues, and obviously eventually in the educational settings in workplace. However, as adults, sometimes we make employment decisions that are often based on societal biases and prejudices, which are linked to years of socialization. So what happens between the childhood years when we have this open mind to absorb all this information like a sponge coming into our minds and brains to learn and simply get the information without any biases, to a point where we become adults and sometimes our minds are already made up and closed? What happens in between those years? Well, we will be concerned mostly about adults making decisions in the workplace and how we can prevent inappropriate decisions based on a person's gender, skin color, or overall appearance, or religion, which has nothing to do with their job performance. So let us look a little bit more deeply about all of our biases that we learn during our socialization as young children, and eventually we bring that into the workplace as adults. Keep in mind some of these headlines that you might have seen over the past few years to a decade. Think about what happened to Starbucks, the training that they put all their employees through. The training involved up to 180,000 employees following their April arrest of two African American men at one of their Philadelphia cafes as they were waiting for a friend. A manager called the police when they didn't buy anything and had them arrested. Starbucks workers took part in emotional training to avoid racial biases in the future. So this was during the 2018 year. You may have seen this headline of a police officer killing another person. The Dallas police officer charged with manslaughter and fatal shooting of unarmed man in his own apartment during 2018. Police officer was arrested in connection with the shooting death of an innocent victim. Why is this person shot in his own apartment? Why would a police officer go to another person's apartment and shoot him? It's a question that needs to be asked. Is there racial bias in police officers making judgments in matters of seconds to either shoot somebody or not shoot somebody? Once you shoot, you cannot undo your decision. It's not like a computer program where you write a statement and then you can delete it, alter it, change it, enhance it. Well, these decisions are very difficult. Did this officer mean to shoot somebody who was innocent? Obviously not, and I hope not. And she has testified that she did not intend to shoot another person who was victim in this case. But nonetheless, the impact is still there. Another innocent person in this world is shot by just opening his door when somebody knocked into his apartment. Think about this headline here, the athletes in a tennis court. Think about this headline where a tennis athlete named Elise was handed a court violation at the US Open for changing her shirt. Now, would this apply to a male athlete as well? Or is it only something that applies to female athletes when they're changing their shirt in an open court? What about Serena Williams? Tennis umpires consider forming union boycotting over Serena Williams drama. Is she being treated differently than men? When an athlete gets angry, disappointed, upset over a call, do we treat her differently than a male player? Do we treat females differently than males? This is society's problem. This is society's practical challenges that we all are brought up with. So do we treat male athletes differently than female athletes? Are there advantages given to men versus women, or vice versa? These are all issues that we need to reflect upon and think about how will we make decisions if we are faced with a similar challenge in today's workplace or in today's society. Keep in mind that there is research that shows there's gender bias in monkeys. So biases are not typical of just the human race. So animals have similar racial prejudices toward their male and female sectors. Researchers at the St. Andrews University found gender bias in vervet monkeys. They studied how monkeys learned from each other and concluded that female monkeys have closer social bonds. Male monkeys are less discriminating in whom they learn from. If one of the monkeys finds a better way to get food, others pay attention and learn from that best practice. They also found that female monkeys are less likely to learn from male monkeys. Male monkeys move around more and they form weaker social bonds. When male monkeys do find useful information, females do not always trust them. It makes one think that perhaps some of these are similar to how human beings, as men and women, operate in society. Is this true of men and women groups in decision making and level of trust in your vicinity, in your teams, in your organizations, in your classrooms, in your city? Or is it different? Do you think some of these are similar to how human beings and men operate in today's environment? So ultimately, the point is that there are biases and prejudices that we're all brought up with. We need to make sure we do not allow these discriminatory biases and prejudices to impact our colleagues, our employees, or our customers in the workplace. We all have prejudices as human beings. We all have what I call mental tapes that have been recorded into our minds during our socialization years as young children. And sometimes they automatically condition us to behave a certain way toward people who are different from us based on those biases that were integrated or inculcated into our minds for years and years. So they can be strong drivers of our behaviors. But we need to be very careful and not allow misinformation and stereotypes to drive our behavior. We need to be conscious of them and allow facts of the current situation to drive our behaviors and decisions. Let us talk about code word discrimination that exists in our society in today's environment. Human beings have social bonds based on gender, religion, skin color, culture, profession, ethnicity, language, body size, age, generations, even sexual orientation, and many, many other characteristics and categories. Within these social bonds and cliques, we use certain words and even code words such as fins up that we use at our university here in Nova Southeastern University. Basically, fins up means this. We're trying to cheer our athletic teams at the university, so it's our slogan here. Our students, faculty, and all the staff are aware of it. It's unique to us, obviously. So these code words tend to convey a certain message. They're unique to each group. So in some cultures, people say cheers in different words, obviously, and even different physical demonstrations of what that means to cheer up, to motivate, to energize, and to come together. So some of these unique words make it easier to communicate in a high context culture within a heterogeneous group, within a diverse group. Unfortunately, some of these code words are based on biases and stereotypes, which could lead to illegal and discriminatory practices in the workplace. Think about this statement from the Hollywood actor. Passing a law to allow discrimination doesn't make you a better Christian or a better Muslim or a better Jewish or a better Hindu or a better atheist. It just makes you a person who is not a good person. Is it true based on your views? If we are basically discriminating legally against other individuals simply because of their views, which might be different from our views. So if we decide based on religion, whose religion do we decide based upon? Who is right? Is it the Muslims? Is it the Christians? Is it the Hindus? Is it the atheists? Is it the Buddhists? Well, everybody believes in a different maybe outcome or appearance of what we consider to be God. So if a person believes in a higher power, that's his or her prerogative to do so. But that doesn't mean we're right or they're right. So again, everybody's right based on his or her own view, but when we evaluate a person based on our view and not their view, obviously we're not going to see what they're seeing. So we need to be very careful not to make a decision based on one religious view in a heterogeneous environment where people are allowed to believe in multiple views of religion or spirituality. As mentioned by Mark Twain, travel is fatal to prejudice and bigotry and narrow-mindedness. So have an open mind. Do travel, but regardless of where you are, hopefully you treat everybody with respect and dignity that each person as a human being deserves. So managers and employers must be very careful since code words can be tied to the American laws, which can lead to lawsuits and bankruptcies for some corporations. Remember to be fair and legal in your management decisions. Remember to exercise ethical behaviors in all cases. It's through a consistent application of being fair, legal, and ethical that your muscles develop stronger and you will be seen as a person with strong integrity, with honesty, with compassion, and being fair and impartial in all your decisions. So avoid all forms of discrimination and harassment in your workplace at all times. And remember that ethical behavior is a skill. So please evaluate and improve your ethical muscles every single day when you're making decisions regarding your employees, your colleagues, and your organization. Good luck.